Welcome to the video about my August colored pictures, and let's start from the pictures which I traditionally color for my birthday. Usually I select one page with lion, which is the zodiac sign of my birthday, and one page where I have some kind of maybe nice fest or party, and usually it's in Teresa Goodrich books. So for this August I did a tea party from Kitchen Charm. One of the reasons why I selected it because I really want to have good progress in Kitchen Charm and I want to finish it one day. So in August I did this pleasant scene with tea party with a lot of yummy things. I wouldn't mind to have such lovely cupcakes and cakes for my birthday, also some nice sandwiches. And outside we have very nice weather. Most of all, I enjoy coloring various textures like wood or folds on fabric. Of course, as usual, I used a lot of Posca pens because unfortunately in Creative Kitchen Charm there are a lot of very thick lines, both on food, which I totally dislike, or on fabric. So I need to use a lot of Posca pens because you know that I try to color in more painting way without very thick lines. So sometimes I exaggerate a little bit with white Posca, but I really tried to show the transparency, very light fabric on the curtain. Most of all, I love how I did the tableware, especially the huge tea kettle. Next, lion page. Lion I decided to do in Tales from the Stars. It's book dedicated to zodiac, so perfect choice. In lion part of the book there are several very nice pictures. Maybe not this one because it's too grayscale, too dark for me. But this one also was very tempting. But then I decided that I really love the girl, her jewelry. The background was confusing because I still don't know what those spheres, what they represent, maybe several planets or something like this, but for me it was too much on the background. Anyway, I think that color which I selected, it was quinacridone lilac. I think that it worked together with various. It was watercolor, it worked nice with Derwent Inktense violet color and with lilac and imperial violet from Prismacolor, and of course I sprinkled everything with white gouache as I usually do when I need to mask some imperfections on the background. Here, most of all, I enjoyed coloring lion. Perfect line art, very easy to color, you just need to look at reference pictures to check where on lion we have slightly lighter fur, closer to cream color, where we have slightly more brownish or orange shades on the mane, and after that I did it very quickly. On the bottom background again was slightly confusing, but then I decided that if I use this May green, it will create good combo with the rest of this color, so I am pretty happy here. I used various pencils, Derwent drawings for the lines, and polychromosis as usually do for the skin. So I think that it's one of my best works here, and I think that I celebrated my birthday in a nice way. I'm glad that I maintain this tradition. I try to do it each year, each August, to select something with lion and something with party, or at least one of such pictures. Now, as usual, in the beginning of the video I show Matchstick Mouse, but this month it was just one page in summer, but page is really lovely. I love the cozy atmosphere here. Night, but nice light coming from the tiny lantern, tiny lamp. I tried to show highlights everywhere on the tanned fabric. on the blanket and even on the head and leaves. Traditionally, Prismacolor pencils, nothing very special. I absolutely love Dormy, those sleeping worm and sleeping beetle. He is so adorable, those tiny legs. Very lovely. I think that it's one of the nicest pages in this book. And then, surprisingly, I decided to look at other books in Matchstick Mouse series which I own, and this poor Matchstick Mouse Halloween, I color it like 1 month in a year, and I decided that maybe it has pictures which are not fully connected to Halloween. And indeed, I found a couple of very nice simple pictures. Here I think that we have very happy mouse who found the huge acorn, a lot of yummy thing for supper. And another one, maybe it's from another night, but here we have these falling stars. Maybe my mouse makes a wish, and I really hope that the wish will come true. Very simple, but it helped me to relax and to have some nice quick pictures. After many months, even maybe after a couple of years, I returned to Australian animals. If you follow my channel, you probably know that I have mixed feelings towards this book. I really had a good progress in it. In the beginning, when I just got it here, you can see what I did and what I still need to color, those red dots. And then I realized at one moment that if I feel that I don't like personality of the artist, if I don't agree with some attitude, it's difficult for me to enjoy coloring her or his books. And that's what happened with Selina Fennick. But after this 1 year or maybe 2 years break, 1 year I think, after I completely stopped to color her books, I decided that I put a lot of efforts into it. So I think that I want to finish it, put on the shelf and maybe to forget, but I want to finish it. I stopped to coloring in it because paper is awful, and to color on this paper fur or feathers, it's really complicated, and it's complicated to do the background. But now when I adjusted to doing backgrounds with markers, when I think that I got some experience how to deal with bad paper, I decided that I can actually return to it and maybe quickly color those remaining 5 pictures and to forget about this book and about this artist. And as my return project, I selected these totally adorable wombats. I love them. I love to watch videos about wombats, and I'm glad that with the efforts of many Australian parks and other facilities, they slowly return to their normal life. They are not as endangered or not suffering from the fires. So I love them, but to color them wasn't very easy, again, mostly because of the paper. So I had to calculate carefully direction of the fur growth and which pencils I can use, because I knew that I can't afford to layer too much on this paper. I think that in the end, they look not bad. Maybe now when I look at it, I'm not so sure about very light areas of light fur which I did around eyes, but apart from it, I do love this blend of slightly gray beige and gray brown colors which I did. That's what I saw on reference pictures, and they were extremely helpful in selection of pencils. Then very quick marker background and pencil flowers. I hope that in such way I will manage to finish those remaining now 5 pictures probably. And then I will have another finished book. Another big return, it's of Dark Queen and King. A lovely book, maybe not for everyone tastes, but I really love many elements here. What I dislike it's those lines which they add to the bodies, like this one, but I mostly try to cover them. What I like is various interesting pieces of jewelry or clothes, and of course faces are nice. In August I decided to do a very dramatic page, and it's Red King. It was very simple, maybe very very usual color choice. Bloody red for the background, bloody red for the quad, together with a lot of steel in cold gray and black colors, and of course a lot of leather and some golden embellishment. Simple color palette, a little bit of struggling with paper, but in this book paper is better comparing to Selena Fennec or Witches, where probably is the worst paper. Here I do love how markers work, and I do love how my Derwent color softs and my polychromos works, so I just had to be more careful with covering paper more thoroughly, but that's where again blender and markers were helpful. I think that he looks quite I don't know how, maybe not furious, well, quite dramatic, let's say so. The only area where I wasn't able to decide what to do, again those lines on the body, well, I think that it would be nice, still nice representation of Dark King, even without such lines which you have on each page. But this small area doesn't bother me a lot. I think that the final look of the page is quite nice, and I really enjoyed doing pictures here. I remember that everything I did here I enjoyed immensely, mostly because I love to color such fabrics, such pieces of jewelry, and it's interesting to do backgrounds with markers. It helps me to learn color combos better. Well, another book with lovely pictures and with terrible paper. Unfortunately, that's Goddesses. Again, I had a very long break. I hadn't touched this book for a year probably, and when I returned, well, I think that I slightly lost my skills how to cover paper nicely here. So when I started to film the first Egyptian goddess which I selected here, it was nice. It was not bad on paper, but it was difficult to film because skin looked grainy. Somehow my camera didn't want to catch colors properly. So the first picture is so-so. I do love her pose, and again I tried to use the most traditional Egyptian colors, a lot of gold, dark red with various shades of blue, green, blue, turquoise colors for the embellishment and for the jewelry. So she is not bad. But the second one, I think it's better. Here start also was complicated because I selected one blue marker for the background. It looked nice on testing paper, but when I started to apply it actually to this paper, it looked too light and too vibrant. So I had to cover background with a couple of shades darker blue, and after that it started to look better, closer to what I imagined. The matte jewelry, matte body, I do love how I did skin. I'm proud how I managed to blend skin on this very bad paper. The only area where I almost ruined this page, it's when everything was completed. I somehow thought that this blue background with those golden elements, it looks childish and not matching the look of the goddess. So I decided to add a little bit of sprinkles of white paint. Maybe it's kind of petals of flowers. I don't know what they supposed to represent. Anyway, it was very liquid, too much water, and those splashes, they don't look very nice. Of course, I tried to delete them, but it still look messy. So I prefer not to look at this area and to look at her beautiful face. Anyway, I'm still very happy that I returned to this book. And good news that someone found this PDF file on Etsy, so even if paper book isn't available anymore from Kolorowanka, it's good that it's still possible to purchase at least a PDF file and to print, because comparing to what Kolorowanka produced now, this book it's like 100 times better, at least for my taste, of course. I finally started Lost and Found book by Mr. Hampson, and I started it mostly because we had a coloring challenge in our Ukrainian group, Color with Ukraine, and of course everyone in August was watching the Olympic Games, maybe almost everyone. So we also did coloring challenge dedicated to sports. I checked many of my books and I decided that why my Mr. Fogarty and Mr. Snail, why wouldn't they participate in Olympic Games? So they wanted to participate in cycling, I presume, but their equipment is slightly outdated, and of course they didn't manage to arrive in time for Olympic Games. But at least during their journey they saw a lot of nice places, nice things around, and I was so in love with the first design which I did here that I decided that second page, which has a lot of differences from the second part of the book, I can color them like two parts of the journey. Usually I select one version, either with light background or with dark background. But in this book we have a lot of differences between two parts. Look, totally different. So maybe that was beginning of Mr. Fogarty journey. That was day trip. I used again a lot of markers, and I think that, yeah, maybe polychromos pencils for both pictures. I definitely can recognize some of my favorite color combos of polychromos pencils. On this thin paper, for me it's easier to color with harder oil-based pencils, that's why polychromoses are my favorite choice. But despite the fact that I really enjoyed doing this one, the next page I did with Prismacolors. And that's because all my books, they are falling around me. So for the next page, I switched to Prismacolors because I wanted to test particular color combo for the scales of pangolin. Pangolins, they became very famous in bad way in the beginning of the COVID story. They were accused that they were the starting point of the COVID. But I think that those creatures, they look lovely, and it's very sad that they are really endangered. They look cute. We have pangolin pictures in Fragile World by Kirby Razanas. Maybe one day I will color them there also. But this time I decided to color them in more fantasy way. Of course, in real life they don't have such blue turquoise eyes or this greenish shade on the scales. But for me it was fun to experiment a little bit. I decided that if I add this turquoise color everywhere on this page for the embellishment of the palanquin, for the background here, for the scales, it will look nice. So I think that it's definitely one of my best August finished pictures. At least I enjoyed it immensely. And look at this cutie. It's so sad that probably I will mess it up when I do this page where I usually use markers. I would love to color this lovely thing also, because Mr. Snail, he didn't have palanquin, so he had to travel on the back of the tiny pangolin. Well, they are so cute. I smile every time when I look at all the details of these books. They are definitely on top of my favorite lists. What else I did? I promised myself that I will color this book in order, but then when I decided to color Pangolin, I ruined my promises, so I decided it's better to color inspiring pictures. In such way I will have quicker progress in this book. But in the beginning of the book, it's like third picture, I had the bare essentials when they finally prepared their baggage for the beginning of their travel. I deliberately decided to make something slightly unusual for the background. I imagined that maybe it's just dawn, very early time in the morning, despite the clocks showing 10 hours. Still, I don't mind, because I was simply tired of traditional blue backgrounds, so that's why I experimented a little bit with markers. Blending isn't perfect, but, well, that's paper. The rest is polychromos pencils. I already have my favorite color combo for Mr. Snail, for Mr. Fogerty face, and I have so much fun by inventing various very fashionable suits for Mr. Fogerty. It's so much fun. Then a couple of empty pictures, and then I decided to go directly to the page when they started their journey on the Orient Express. I hope that no murder is on agenda, so they will continue their journey on Orient Express peacefully. And they have such a nice lunch, so many yummy things. I enjoyed doing it. I decided to do Orient Express in this colorful way because I actually saw a very old reference picture, and indeed wagons of Orient Express, they had those very beautiful rich colors in blue, dark green and wine red, so I decided to use it as an idea for my own coloring. I was tempted to do picture in the second part, this one, because here Mr. Fogerty has totally different costume, and it has different background and even different parts of the baggage, but I decided that no, maybe I will do the first part, the whole journey around the world, and then if I still miss Mr. Fogerty and Mr. Snail adventures, I will do something which looks different from the second part of the book. A lot of time in August I dedicated to Ivy. I can't say that it's something special, but what I love is to have finished spreads. And in July I started this dragon queen probably, and in August I had to finish the right side. It was a little bit complicated to connect two pages, but when I did my color planning, I thought that maybe dark blue and dark green are universal colors, so I can use them as a background for both parts. It's refreshing to use water-soluble pencils. You know that I very rarely use Kohinoor Mondeluz or even Derwent Ink 10s. Here, Kohinoor Mondeluz and couple of Albrecht Dürer water-soluble pencils helped me to do this first layer of the background, and then I just work on the details, trying to use some of the colors from the left side so they look relatively well balanced. Slightly strange, but well, at least it's finished. The second spread, it's very childish, but some of the elements it was fun to color. It would be a lovely spread if it has smaller amount of details, like maybe instead of these flowers we can move here those mushroom houses, to leave here only ivy and mouse. It would be probably better to have slightly more realistic leaves. Here flowers are in more realistic way, here totally childish. Well, so for me it's too many details on the right side and not enough details on the background on the left. I tried to balance it in some way. I tried to use the same colors for both pictures, but still it's definitely far from my best works here. Many pictures here are better, so the only accomplishment here and good moment is that I have slow progress and another spread finished. I think that the last time when I colored something in Klara Markova, my one and only, sadly, book, it was before Christmas. So finally I did something here. I don't know why I selected polychromos in this book. I think that I colored half of the book with Prismacolors, half with polychromos. I love both brands on this paper. Paper is perfect, and I decided to color those interesting berries, those adorable forest elves. Simple. In the beginning I wasn't sure that my background with very intense dark green color that maybe it was too much. I'm still not sure, especially together with those leaves. But when I added those vibrant heads, things started to look better. Also, I was a little bit confused what we have on the head of the elf, so I decided to turn it into maybe head made from pearls. Lovely, and it gave me a little bit of feelings of returning to this book. I hope that when I do the next page I will feel more confident, because when you color it like once in a year you definitely forget the style of the artist. Do you need to cover lines how you do it on this paper? So it's better to color more frequently. It's advice for myself. I finally did something in this book by Eric, which I already have for several months, and it's a world heritage, I believe, because she created so many lovely books during last time. So mine it's about traveling around the world, and I decided that as a first picture I can select picture dedicated to Italy. It's very colorful, and again it's I do love to do colorful pictures, but this one probably is a little bit too motley even for myself. But I justify myself that I was inspired by a real color of Caltagirone village in Italy, famous for the beautiful colorful pottery. I looked at reference pictures, and indeed those color combo of turquoise, gold, vibrant blue, shades of orange and green, they all are frequently used on the pottery. Well, I hope that when I color the left side, and I want to start to do it immediately with the same pencils, I hope that the finished spread will look better. Now I started to feel this paper is really very interesting with very strong tools. So for smooth coverage I definitely recommend to use blender, but I think that it's better comparing to my romantic country, or maybe it's just I gathered some skills, I gathered some experience how to color Aries book. So it was fun, definitely not something very special, but I hope that the left side will be a little bit better. And in this book I have so many lovely pictures that I am glad that I started it. I think that it will be a good book for winter time. It has a lot of lovely winter pictures. Finally the last picture, and probably my favorite, together with pangolin for August. It's from Nelko Neko, and I did steampunk cat. Here I love everything. I'm proud of the color combo which I invented for his coat, for the how everything looks together with blue background, and I added those blue highlights everywhere on the background, on the metal, on the quad. I was confused if I managed to blend those purple grape colors together with blue, but on this paper I think that you can blend everything, and those purple and blue colors, they always look very nice in combination of shades of gold and various orange, brown colors, which I usually use for leather. So I honestly think that it will be a page which I will include in my top list of finished works for this year. You know that I love to color metals. Here we had a good practice coloring various shades of metals. This one looks like copper, this one is more like old gold, this one is steel. But personally, I am glad that I selected such a nice color combo, perfectly in how I imagine steampunk color palette for pictures. So I think that it's definitely one of the best things which I created in August. I am very rarely completely happy with my works. This one is definitely was an easy picture without any suffering, without struggle with color choices or with textures. So I definitely need to dedicate more time to this lovely book. And good thing was that we have only a small part of the cat's body visible, so even for beginners I think that it's quite easy to color fur here. I can recommend this book, yes, if you want to practice how to color fur. Of course only on cats, but still it's a good practice on good paper. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, thank you for your support, and I hope to show you something interesting in September also.